Miracle cures are now the norm. From the likes of Joe Dispenza to Kaitlin to the book A Course in Miracles, which proves that miracle cures are no longer miracles. They really are becoming something that is mind over matter. Um, just to backtrack a bit, and for those who've asked, this neck scar was due to a motorcycle accident I had years ago, and never bothered getting it corrected. Friend thought the scar looked cool. Yeah, it's all what it is. And when I had the accident, friends at the scene saw me get thrown off my bike and then bounce a couple times across the pavement like skipping a pebble across the surface of a lake. And the accident at this impact caused the thin membrane in my skull below my left eye to break off at that time of impact. Now, the operation was scheduled weeks ahead and was low risk with low odds of going blind in my left eye. But my face looked askew. And by coincidence, on the day of the pre-op, which is the day before the actual operation, I went to the bathroom after waking up in the morning. I looked in the mirror and I was shocked to see my face looking normal again. I walked over to my mom, who was just waking up, and she reached out and said in a shocked voice, "Your face." And so we went to the hospital for the pre-op, and the pre-op doctor looked really confused and called my doctor and said that she thinks there's been a really big mistake because she doesn't think I need an operation. So she sent my doctor the x-rays, and my mom, who's a distinguished Japanese blue blood, uncharacteristically got down on her hands and knees on the hospital floor and said, "It's a miracle." And I didn't try to manifest what happened. No idea how it happened. But I did just accept that I would have to have that operation. And maybe it's that act of surrender that helped the higher powers miracle cure me. The timing is awfully suspicious, but I'm forever grateful. But a far more pronounced miracle cure happened to me on the night of July 18th, 2023. So I was diagnosed after a series of months of chronic stress for the first time in my life. And I was diagnosed with this myalgic encephalomyelitis, and it's also known as chronic fatigue syndrome. And it's a chronic condition that gets worse over time, and it's what medical science says is not curable. And I saw a top doctor, and he confirmed this is what I had, and he even said that we have a long road ahead of us. So I went and researched and found many things I could do to cure the condition. Well, not cure, but let's say feel better and feel more energetic than the state I was in. And I started doing Joe Dispenza's Miracle Cure meditations. I switched to a keto diet. Pavel is a good friend of mine who was telling me to take 3 key herbs 3 times a day. And this was Shilajit, oil of oregano, and dragon's blood. And I started specific types of acupuncture that was available to me just walking distance from my place, as luck would have it. I also started doing infrared sauna, and I detail all the steps I took in my book, whose link is shown below. Now, these steps can cure many conditions, not just what I had, especially the myriad of stress-induced autoimmune diseases, which now plague around a third of our planet. And that number has climbed substantially over the last decade. So the doctor I saw, by the way, for my condition, overprescribed me by a factor of 4. The drug's name is clonazepam, and it's one of the most addictive it's called a benzodiazepine, that have ever caused addiction centers to pop up like mushrooms around the planet. I don't know how this stuff is legal. And at the time I started taking them, I was not of sound mind to research what I was taking. So after the drug had worked its way into my system over a period of 10 days, that was enough time for me to become addicted. I was horrified, actually, to read on different platforms like Quora and Reddit and other user sites about the sad stories of how this drug has ruined their lives. And Jordan Peterson spoke of how it robbed him of a year of his life and how he's never been quite the same. Now, around that time that I was dealing with all of this, Vishen, who is the founder of Mind Valley, had, like he normally does, invites me to these special lunches and meetings. And I told him I didn't think I could make it because I wouldn't be in the country. And of course, the deeper reason is that I thought I'd be like at Cedars-Sinai in California dealing with whatever, what this condition was. But I ran into him, and he saw the state I was in. And so he immediately called Kaitlin, who happened to be in town because Mind Valley was doing its summer session. And she's worked with Joe Dispenza, and she's cured herself and her mother and others of incurable conditions, including inoperable brain tumors, when the medical establishment has pretty much written off the patient and given them a certain number of months to live. And Kaitlin came over to my place that very afternoon and told me that I must never go back on clonazepam, and that I had the ability to overcome this incurable condition. And she said she would be doing a healing circle for me in a week or two. And, I'm just really grateful that she doesn't know me, but through Vishen, she devoted her time and effort to helping me. So I vowed to never take a clonazepam again. All the sites and users on the internet said it's suicide to quit this drug so abruptly. Because, generally most people wean themselves off it slowly over a period of at least a year. And they often fail because they end up going back onto it. But if one quits the drug suddenly, the acute phase of having zero sleep lasts from 2 to 4 weeks. And this is when the seizures start to happen, and then you get brain damage and possibly death. So they were also saying, and the medical journals were also saying, that you get permanent changes in personality as a lovely side effect. So after quitting this drug, I lay awake like a mad zombie every night. I knew that I couldn't be doing things. I just had to physically rest for at least several hours. But since I was not even getting micro sleeps, this is due to the drug having completely depleted the GABA in my brain. So by the third night of zero sleep, my muscles started to twitch in my arms and in my legs. And by the fifth night of zero sleep, around 2:30 a.m., a deep peace overcame me to the core of my being, with come what may, whether brain damage or death. I was actually accepting anything that happened going forward. And it was like surrendering to the situation. And right about that point, I felt like an internal reset button had been hit. It was like a core level feeling that I'd never felt before or since. And I didn't know what to make of it, but I knew it was not a bad thing. And oddly, I was able to not just fall asleep a few minutes after this weird internal vibration happened, but I had one of the best sleeps I'd had in years, and woke up with all the symptoms vanished, and I didn't believe it. I didn't know whether to celebrate and let everyone know, or maybe remain quiet about it because I thought the symptoms would just return later that day. But then I had so much energy, I felt like I was reborn. And so I just started telling everyone the good news. And the next night, I was worried that deep insomnia may return. Because, like I said, with clonazepam, you really don't sleep for 2 to 4 weeks if you try to quit it cold turkey. But I was able to fortunately go into REM sleep quite quickly. And so I woke up after about one sleep cycle feeling very relieved. And then I had this massive channeled download. I don't know how to describe it, but it was this something from above, higher power. So I sat up in bed and wrote down all the wisdom imparted to me for the next few hours, which I include in my book. And then the night after that, something else bizarre happened, and it felt like I tapped into what Nikolai Tesla called the field of infinite intelligence, where I could create new words with ease, new poetry, new hilarious comedy sketches. It's like my mind was endlessly creative all of a sudden. And it was to the point where I was making myself laugh out loud in bed over the next few hours. And this has never happened before in my life. And of course, I was sober and everything like that. But it did feel like I'd reached that 0 point of endless creativity. And unfortunately, the gift diminished over the ensuing weeks. But I can still tap into it when I'm self-hypnotizing and meditating. So it's there, it's accessible, I think, to everybody. Now, I've been blessed with 4 mega crises in my life, this being one of them. And I do call it blessings because each helped me to spiritually grow when all seemed lost and the end was nigh, as is said. But a higher power seems to be keeping me alive in each situation, which I discuss in my book, against all odds. And each of us is a piece of this higher power. And each of us is here to express our true nature, so this higher power can understand itself better. So this sentiment is echoed across many spiritual leaders. Even Divine Goddess in my journey with ayahuasca that one weekend years ago said the same. So all that said, each of us is no greater or lesser than anyone else. Each of us is limitless at the same time. And each of us has the power to miracle cure ourselves with the assistance of that higher power, of which we are all a part. And it's always nice to know that we are all one. So, namaste.